All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. I just uploaded a video of a mono green deck, which is what I'm looking at here. And originally, when I recorded the video, I did a quick kind of deck tech video at the beginning, and then I jumped into some gameplay. And the first video that I recorded, I ended up not uploading. So I'm back here. I'm gonna go over sort of what's in the deck, what works, kind of what you're trying to achieve here in this mono green deck. So I say mono green. I've got 2 artifacts in here, but everything else is green. So basically, the goal of this deck is to just pump out lots of strong creatures. Basically, I've got some other stuff in here that provides some necessary sort of utility, but in general, it's like big, powerful creatures, mana ramp, some stuff. We'll go over that. I'd like to make some changes to this, but I don't have the cards at the moment. I just put this together based off of what I already had in my collection. So yeah, as far as our big kind of win conditions are, we've got our big creatures out here. Galta Primal Hunger costs X less, where that's the total power of my creatures. So like mid to late game, I can drop him out for 2. Probably, I pump out a lot of creatures with this deck. So I've got Verdant Force. Each upkeep, put out a 1/1 green Saproling token. I do the same thing with Tendershoot Dryad, except Tendershoot gives Saprolings +2/+2 if I have the City's Blessing, which I usually can have that by like turn 4 or 5, just with the amount of shit that I can play out here. So Verdant Force is nice. He's a 7/7, whereas Tendershoot Dryad's only a 2/2, which makes him vulnerable to stuff like Golden Demise. I forgot what that other black card is that gives target creature -2/-2, and you gain 2 life. That's another one that he's vulnerable to. But I do have where is it? Path of Discovery here. So this is a 4-drop. This is a really useful card. I'd like to put another one of these in here probably. I get this out pretty regularly, but it's nice. It's nice to have. Makes it so that your creatures explore when they enter the battlefield. So a lot of the time, I'll end up exploring, and it'll be a creature or like a sorcery or an enchantment or something sitting at the top there. So it lets me really take advantage of that exploration feature with cards like Verdant Force and Tendershoot Dryad, where each upkeep I'm putting out Saprolings. If I have a card on top of my library that lets me pump them with +1/+1, then each upkeep I'm putting out a Saproling, and they're getting a +1/+1, which that adds up pretty fast. The old Galta Primal Hunger benefits from that, because then I'm pumping out at least 2/2 Saprolings, and with Tendershoot Dryad, once I get the City's Blessing, they get +2/+2, so that makes it even easier to drop a Galta for a low cost. I'm running Strength of the Pack is sort of like a mid-game, late-game type of deal that helps me buff my creatures. Each creature that I control gets +2 +1/+1 counters. Grun the Lonely King is a big drop. Generally, I aim to get him out and be able to kick him. So for all these big cards, when I don't have a way to play them too early in the game unless I ramp. So for ramp, we've got Llanowar Elves. We've got 4 of those guys. A wonderful card. 1-drop, taps for 1 green mana. I've got Naga Vitalist. Does the same thing. He's a 2-drop, but he taps for 1 mana that any type of land I control could produce, which in this case is green, since he's in a mono green deck. Drover of the Mighty does the same thing. 2-drop, taps for 1 mana, and he gets a +2/+2 as long as I control a dinosaur. So that's helpful. I've got an enchantment here, a couple of Gift of Paradise, enchants land, and I gain 3 life, and the enchanted land can tap for 2 mana of any one color. So that effectively turns one of my forests into 2 forests instead of 1. So we've got a little bit of ramp here that helps. I usually can get that stuff going pretty early in game. along with Path of Discovery, being able to explore and put out more lands. So it all kind of synergizes together, which is the point. Which was the point of me wanting to put together a monocolor deck, because instead of having to try to find synergies among two different colors, I know I had a lot of green cards that can work together. I wanted to sort of abuse the explorer mechanics, so that's where we're at with that. We've got Rona's Last Stand. That's a 2-drop. Creates a 5/4 green snake creature token. Lands you control don't untap during your next untap step, but it only costs 2, so if you have a lot of land, that's not that big of a deal. And if you are using your Llanowar Elves or Naga Vitalist to Drover of the Mighty, you can tap those to play that card out instead, and since they're not lands, they'll untap on your next turn, so you're not wasting any lands and kind of holding yourself back and not being able to play stuff. We've got the Adventurous Impulse. That's kind of helps me cycle through my deck. Lets me decide if I need lands or creatures. I can pull into my hand whatever I think is most beneficial. And then Song of Freyalise. That's just for being able to add mana when I have creatures out. And then buff for 1 turn. My creatures get a +1/+1, so that's nice. And then for that turn, I can swing with them, not have to worry about them being tapped or being destroyed. So it's nice. I haven't used it yet, but it's in there just for fun. Nature's Spiral helps me return stuff if I'm playing against like control. That's the goal here, is if I play something out that's essential and it gets countered, I can hopefully be able to bring it back to my hand, at least with Nature's Spiral. Stampede Boy here makes my dinosaurs cost less. That's just sort of standard. This guy just comes in and lets me create dinosaurs. And then I've got the Thundering Spineback, gives my other dinosaurs +1/+1, and I can use him to create dinosaur tokens, 3/3s with trample, which again helps with Path of Discovery, being able to explore. I've got the Arch of Araska in here just for later in game if I have this out and I'm playing off of my deck or I don't have many cards in my hand. Usually later in the game I'll have with my Path of Discovery and either my Verdant Force or Tendershoot Dryad or both, I'm putting out creatures every turn anyway, and so drawing cards with my mana instead of playing more spells sounds good. I haven't been able to draw my Arch and put it into practice yet, but I'm still having good success with the deck. So if you haven't watched my other video where I go over a gameplay with this, you should check that out, and you can kind of see the deck in action. That's just one example, and so I'll probably do a couple more gameplay videos. I might do one more gameplay video with this deck and just play probably like 2 or 3 games and then upload that. It'll be a longer video, but you'll kind of get a better idea of what the deck looks like playing against some of the other stuff. I'm not a high rank on ladder right now. I dropped down a bunch of rank by playing some weird decks that don't really work that well, but it's fun. This deck does basically what I want. Like I said at the beginning, I do have room for improvement on this deck, but having put it together with just cards that I already owned, it does pretty good. And I think that I could probably climb reasonably high. Probably I could hit at least gold with this deck if I wanted to put in enough games. So that's it. This is my mono green deck for now. I mean, I'll make changes to it. Again, check out my other video where I do gameplay. You can find the deck list in the description. I'll also include the deck list on EtherHub in the description to this video. And if you haven't, please subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. I'll be uploading at least one video a week, I think. I'm going to try and shoot for that to start with here. I work a lot, but I usually have enough free time where I can record some gameplay. I've got a couple of other decks that I can do deck tech and gameplay with if anybody's interested in watching that. So thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and check out my other stuff if you're interested in more Magic the Gathering gameplay.